few people have messaged me about this. Joseph Parker is now rated number 9 on Boxrec in the heavyweight division. Now, to put that into context, Anthony Joshua is number 16. So Parker is 7 places above Joshua. He's also above Bermane Stiverne. He's also above Ruslan Chagayev. He's also above Antonio Tarver. He's also above Steve Cunningham. You know, they rate this guy very, very highly. It's one of these difficult ones, ratings, because when I'm rating and ranking a fighter, I go more on resume than the eye test. Now, I know I've got a lot of subscribers on the channel from New Zealand. Shout out to everyone in New Zealand. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. But I'm going to speak the truth and say it how I see it in this video. Joseph Parker, in my mind, doesn't have the resume to be a top 10 heavyweight. I think he is a top 20 heavyweight, based on his resume. Yeah, Cali Meehan is a solid operator. It's a good win. And there are several other good wins on Parker's resume. You know, we all know the likes of the guys he's beaten: Sermon Williams, Brian Minto, Jason Petaway, Bowie Tupu. You know, he's performed well. He's performed with credit. He's done very, very, very well, and he passes the eye test. Don't get me wrong, based on eye test alone, Parker does deserve to be top 10, because the way he's going about business is very impressive. But for me, when you're actually ranking someone and looking at them in that system, it's more about CV, it's more about quality of opposition. And I just don't think that beating a 45-year-old Cali Meehan is enough to make you number 9 in the world. Because whilst Parker did it very, very well, I think a lot of top heavyweights would have got rid of Meehan. He just wasn't in the class, if you like. He's not top level anymore. So in terms of where I see Joseph Parker, I would have him top 20, but in all honesty, I'd have him lower top 20. And the reason being, if you look at some of the names Boxrec have got above him, you know, like Bermane Stiverne, WBC World Champion, went 12 rounds with Wilder, beat Chris Arreola twice. Carlos Takam drew with Mike Perez, beat Tony Thompson. I mean, beating Tony Thompson is probably better than anything on Parker's resume at this stage, you've got to say. Steve Cunningham, draw with Amir Mansour. I know he fought Glasgow and Adamek, and he's got. You know, my point is that these guys are performing at a higher level than Parker. Parker's looking better than them, but it's possibly easier to look good against the opponents that Parker's facing. And I think in order to get a top 10 rating, you have to beat one of the long-established gatekeepers of the division. And by that, I mean you've got to go and beat Tony Thompson. And these are passes. These are tests that not everyone passes, you know. UK heavyweight, David Price. Everyone in the UK thought he was going to be the next big thing. He had a similar hype about him in the UK to Parker had in New Zealand. Don't get me wrong, I think Parker's better than Price. But Price stepped up, fought Tony Thompson and lost. Odlanair Solis, Cuban amateur, viewed as a potential world champion, fought Tony Thompson and lost. Then you got Steve Cunningham, who was the test for the likes of Tyson Fury, Glasgow, etc. My point is these kind of guys are guys you have to be beating in order to merit that top 10 rating. And I think Parker is still a fight away from that just yet. Don't get me wrong, Parker's got all the future in the world, and I'm sure that he can be a top 10 heavyweight within the next 6 months. I don't see him there yet, and I see this as premature. Don't forget that Boxrec uses a points-based system. One thing you can say about Joseph Parker's handlers is they're keeping him very, very active, which is really important for a heavyweight prospect, especially at such a young age. And the way the Boxrec system works is that activity is rewarded. So Parker moves up the list, he's being kept busy, he's beating solid opponents, he's beating really, really respectable opponents, and he's beating opponents that, as a 23-year-old, 14-0 fighter, that he's beating exactly the right kind of opponents. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, in my opinion, He isn't there quite yet. Let me know your thoughts. I'm interested to see how people rate Joseph Parker. And so that we're all singing from the same song sheet, I'm not looking for you to go, well, it's up to you what you write, but I would suggest that we don't go, Parker's the 4th best heavyweight in the world. He'd run through someone like Bryant Jennings. That may be true, but in my mind, that's not how we rate heavyweights. You can't have Parker above Jennings, because Jennings beat Mike Perez and Parker beat Meehan. You know, for me, it's kind of simplistic in terms of how we rate people in that sense. So based on resume, based on CV, how do you rate Parker? I've got him low 20s, so, you know, low top 20s, so 17th, 18th, 19th, that sort of level. I think he can be top 10, but I think he's 1, maybe 2 fights away from it. Let me know your thoughts. Many thanks for watching.